I think you can hear my fan, but I really don't care. So let's just brought Angelico back, which is awesome because if you've ever followed any of the stuff he did on Lucha Underground, that man is crazy and can fly and can do anything he puts his mind to, and it's fascinating. So he was taking on El Clone from the Don Callis family. Serpentico was at ringside, which, of course, because they have their own little thing going there. I'm pretty sure they've been doing stuff on ROH, and now they just kind of popped back up to AEW for the minute in order to fulfill time, space, continuum. It was a good match. I mean, it's two lucha guys, so they're a little bit of high flying, a little bit of wrestling around on the mat and reversing reversals into pins, which was fine. It was a good match. I'm not mad at it. I'm glad we're finally starting to do some stuff with El Clone, which Clone actually at one point got knocked down, or not knocked down. He was in the corner, and Angelico was going to hit him with just like a little, corner clothesline type of deal. And he rolled under Angelico, I think is what happened. And then he did like a weird kip up and held the back bend for several seconds while walking backwards, and then did like a Pele kick and got Angelico right in the head. And that was fascinating. It's such a weird little thing. I didn't get any pictures this time. I'm working on figuring out why my photos and my picture-in-picture is weird. I'm trying to find the little details to figure out how to put it where I want it, but it's fine. You can find a video of it, I'm sure, on the AEW YouTube channel. After everything was said and done, El Clone picked up the victory, which cool. I'm cool with that. And then Serpentico came in and kind of brushed past El Clone real quickly. Real kind of disrespectfully, someone was saying. And so a Clone attacked Serpentico. And as Serpentico was getting his butt whipped there in the middle of the ring, Commander came out and did a little save. And then Commander and Clone kind of looked at each other as Clone like slowly backed up the entry ramp. And Clone was doing Commander's like salute and then pointing and salute and point and salute and point, and that kind of set up something for later on. Right after that, Moxley did a promo about the Continental Classic and how all the people that are in it really like want to go for it. They bring out their best. It's the best tournament in the business today, and I'm the champion. And you may not have expected me to be the champion, but you probably should have expected me to be the champion because it's me, type of deal, right? Then he did a shoot on Shelton because Wednesday, Mox and Shelton have a Continental Championship Eliminator match, and they talk about that a little bit more as the show goes on. So that's probably going to be a pretty hard-hitting match. It's two big, beefy boys. I think Shelton's got like 2 or 3 inches on John. I'm pretty sure Mox is like 6'1" and Shelton is like 6'4". Like he's a tall boy. He's a big, tall boy. Strong, muscle, tall boy. We hurt people. Following that, the Timeless Love Bombs had a match against, and here's where I need to apologize because I screwed this up on one of my last videos. It's Hyen and Maya World. They are 2 separate people. They are not siblings. They are not like the World Tag Team. It is just Hyen and Maya World. 2 people. And that's just how that goes. So I apologize to them. That was a pretty good match. Love Bombs ended up with the win, obviously. Like, it wasn't a squash match. It took longer than 3 minutes. It was probably around 6 or 7 minutes. I'm pretty sure there was even a commercial break somewhere in there. And they put up a pretty good show as far as like to prove that they deserve contracts. Tony Storm and Mina. There was a lot of back and forth. I think there could have been a little less back and forth. There were a few moments where it was just like, okay, you're giving it to him because this is one of the matches that Hyan and Maya World are trying to use to prove that they deserve contracts or whatever. But at the end of the day, like I said, the Timeless Love Bombs came out with the victory. They all shook hands at the end, and then Tony and Mina went up the ramp and everybody cleared the ring. And then we had we had an actual squash match. Like this one, I don't think the entire match lasted 2 minutes. It was it was Shafir and Bane, which I think they're calling themselves like Mega Trouble or Mega Problems or something like that. I think it's Mega Problems because Marina Shafir is the problem. So it's Mega Problems. And and they took on a team called Rocher Chanel and London Dior. So it was fine. It was a super squash match. I mean, I believe Shafir started things off for like a second, and then as soon as they got the upper hand, she tagged in Megan Bayne. Megan Bayne ran roughshod over everybody, and then at the very last second, Shafir came in and like laid down on her back in the middle of the ring, and Megan Bayne did like a weird, like not quite body slam, but not quite just like dropping this girl. But she gently planted one of either Chanel or Dior into Shafir's arms, and Shafir put on like her finishing submission move, which is called the Mother's Milk, which is very strange to me, but hey, we'll go with it. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that entire match lasted like 90 seconds. It was super squash. Then we cut to the back where the Don Callis family was beating up a bunch of just random people. I'm not even sure exactly why they were doing that. Like, they just seemed to be super invigorated at the moment, so they were beating up a bunch of, like, security or other dark match kids. And it was just like, oh, we're coming for gold, and Hechicero is about to go up against, go have this match and win, and it's for a shot at the title. And at the very end of it, Lance Archer did his Lance Archer thing because he's 7 feet freaking tall, and he just grabbed one of these dudes, and they were in like just a generic hallway in the arena somewhere, and he picked this guy up, and he threw his head through the foam tiles in the ceiling of this hallway, and then he was just like, everybody dies, and then they all disappeared, and Hechicero's music hit, and Hechicero came out, and it was Commander versus Hechicero for this title, I believe for the TNT Championship. So Mark Briscoe was going to take on the winner, or is taking on the winner of this match, which ended up being Hechicero. And that was a pretty interesting match because they're both luchadors, but Hechicero's kind of a thick boy, and Commander's kind of a small dude. It's kind of a small dude, so it wasn't quite David versus Goliath as far as like Rey Mysterio versus the Big Show, but it was smaller luchador versus bigger luchador. So there was high flying, but there also was mat grappling, and at one point, Hechicero did like a power bomb, and he power bombed Commander into the guardrail, which is such a crazy spot because anybody else who's paid attention to wrestling for as long as I have would know that the way that they did it was the exact same way that Finn Balor like absolutely demolished his shoulder after winning the Universal Championship like a decade ago. So it didn't seem like Commander was having any issues with his arms with all of that, or after all of that. And I hope that he's good because that is a very interesting spot to hit. But Hechicero did end up with the win. because El Clone came back and interrupted the match, and just Hechicero got the upper hand after that and got the win like 30 seconds later. And so that was the whole thing. So it was good. It was good. You know, we're starting to build something finally with the Don Callis family, instead of just seemingly throwing all these guys to the wolves just to fill time, because all of them are good wrestlers. They're all good, you know, in the ring and whatever, but it doesn't seem like very many of them have had opportunities to do stuff. So now we've had Clone win, we've had Hechicero win, and he's going after the TNT championship. Let's just see what happens as we move forward. Then there was a weird little video package for Caster and Bowens, where they were sent out to, they had to like say 3 good things about each other, and it was several backhanded compliments back and forth, and then they had to go on a scavenger hunt, and they didn't even say what they were looking for. Caster was just like, yeah, like, we're just, Tony Khan sent us out here for like a team building exercise to do the scavenger hunt, but this is a bunch of crap, like I don't want to do this. And that entire clip ended with Caster being like, yeah, not happening, and like freaking out, like supposedly people that were just on the street walking around, which honestly I can believe that they were just regular people, because it's really hard to get and really expensive to get sections of street shut down, and I don't think they would pay for that when they can just use normal people as background extras. Eddie Kingston and Ortiz came out after that promo, and they cut a whole thing calling out the grizzled young veterans. But before they got into it, Kingston saw 2 signs in the audience that were like, oh, it's my birthday, like, wish me a happy birthday. And so he got the crowd to chant happy birthday for this one woman, and then he saw the second sign, and he was like, oh, kid, you're 8 years old, like, happy birthday, that's awesome, remember how great this is, because anything after 8 years old sucks and goes downhill. And then they did the whole thing against the grizzled young veterans. So that was good, that was fine, that was, you know, that was Kingston. That's just, this is what he does. He's a talker, but he's not a great talker, but he's an excellent fighter, and we all love him. So after that, we had Jet Speed versus Big Bill and Brian Keith. I don't know what they're doing with Bill and Keith at the moment, now that Jericho's no longer part of AEW. But hopefully they get it figured out, because they work well together. They could do good stuff as far as like going after the titles. They could have a really decent reign with the titles. I don't know why Bill continues to be stuck into weird little tag teams with people way shorter and loudmouthed than he is. But that's what they do. So it was a good match. There was plenty of high flying. There was plenty of man slapping man meat. There was one point near the end where Keith and Mike Bailey were fighting in the ring, and Kevin Knight had like slipped away from Bill, and they were both on the outside, and Knight went like up the entrance ramp a little bit, and then Bill chased him partway up the entrance ramp, and then Bill just kind of blocked him from getting back to the ring, because he figured that Keith was about to get the victory, and then that didn't happen. And Mike Bailey ended up pulling a little switcheroo, and Jet Speed got the win. And as they were going up the entrance ramp, they were like, haha, Bill, like, we got one over on you because we're smart and we don't need to rely like just on our brute strength or whatever. So that was a little thing. Commercial break. And then we came back to the Grizzled Young Veterans cutting a promo on Kingston and Ortiz, saying, like, you have no idea, like, what we're about, who we are, what we can do to you. We're going to beat the crap out of you. We're going to choke the life out of you. We'll tear you to pieces. grizzled young veteran stuff. That's just kind of what they do. It's kind of what they've done for a while. They're great performers. They bring some extra entertainment to everything, but that's just kind of how everything worked. And the promo was fine. They both got their words in, and then we went straight into a second promo package for the Ops versus Hangman Page and Swerve Strickland. That's happening Wednesday. It's a lights out match, and they hit that package. I think that might have actually been like the second time they hit that package or a package for that match tonight. And I'm pretty sure they hit it 4 times overall. And so, like, yeah, it's going to be a big match. We get it. But, like, 4 times, you guys? Like, that seemed a little excessive. I don't know if you were just filling time. If you were, we could have gone back to the Mega Problems match and made that last a little longer than 90 seconds. But, fine. It's fine. It's fine. I'm not worried about it. We got back to the action with Dante Martin versus Shelton Benjamin. Shelton did come out on top, which was not surprising because the entire first 3 minutes of that match was just Shelton. Dante started to get the upper hand and was doing some flippy-dippy stuff. And he was going to do, like, one of his signature, like, backflip into like the DDT type of deal, or just the backflip off the top in order to come down on Shelton specifically to flatten him out. And before he could pull the backflip off, Shelton just reached over and like pushed him, and Dante Martin just was manhandled over and over and over and over, ended up losing, got a handshake at the end from Shelton, got props from MVP at the end. MVP got the crowd to cheer for him and be like, yeah, like you're good. Like you're a good professional wrestler. You're just not, the greatest professional wrestler. Like there are definitely, you need to work on some stuff. Right. And then as soon as Dante cleared the ring and the ref cleared the ring and they got out of there, MVP had the mic and was like, hey, by the way, Mox, you've got this match with Shelton coming up on Wednesday. He's going to absolutely obliterate you because, like, you might be in it for your ideology or whatever, but we're in it to make money, and we make money by hurting people. So you and your little D Riders, and he took a shot at the Death Riders by calling them D Riders, and that made me giggle like a school child for about 37 seconds. So that was fun. Then we went to the back. Sammy Guevara was standing there, and Sammy Guevara had Bandito with him, and Guevara was like, I don't understand why you get this, like, shot at the title just because you won a ring. Like, I don't think you deserve it. You haven't been around here long enough. I'm a day one guy. I said day one that I'm going to be the world champ. It's my destiny, so I want to take you on in a match for your number one contendership, and I'm going to beat you, and I'm going to become the world champion. And Bandito was just like, cool story, bro. Like, you could have just asked. We didn't have to do this, like, in front of a camera. I'll see you next week, and we'll have our match. And then Guevara, like, started to pout. I don't understand his new character, but I haven't seen a lot of it yet because it's all ROH stuff. So we'll see how that plays out. I'm sure Bandito's going to win and go on to have the match with Max against or for the title. Then after that, we came to the main event of the night, which was once again Darby Allin, versus Wheeler Yuta, because Yuta called him out last week when he was like, hey, you want Pac so bad, like you got to go through me. So tonight was Darby going through Yuta, and that is actually what happened. Like, Darby got the win. It took 2 coffin drops, and he should have gotten the 3 count, but he pulled Yuta up. He did the old school, like, heel tactic where he was like, oh, 1, 2, oh, whoops, look, he's sitting up, oh, that's crazy, and then he, like, threw him to the side a little bit to go do the rest of the stuff. So let's start at the beginning. Darby came out hot and heavy. Yuta fought back, and there was some back and forth for a while. Darby knocked Yuta out of the ring at one point and was going to do one of his crazy shot out of a cannon Darby dives. And as he started on the one side where Yuta was, and he bounced and then ran to the other side to get more speed. And then as he was coming back, Shafir stepped in front of Yuta. Of course she did. And so Darby stopped. He took a breath. He took a second. He climbed out of the ring. He didn't climb out of the ring. He grabbed the top rope and vaulted himself up over the top rope, landed flat on his feet on the outside of the ring, looked at Shafir and said, "Get out of the way." And as soon as he was like doing that, and him and Shafir were getting into a little bit of a tizzy, Yuta came around Shafir and sucker punched him. So then they got that all back into the ring, and just, I don't understand why. Okay. Shafir interrupted, I think, like 4 times, and she finally eventually did get kicked out of ringside, which was good, except before that happened, she interrupted, I believe it was the second time. And after she interrupted, there was like a little bit of a back and forth, and then she did something else, and the ref was like, "Okay, you need to get the hell out of here." So she threw a hissy fit. She kicked the ring steps. She went to the entry ramp and started backing up it very slowly. Toni Storm came down, started to fight with Marina Shafir. The two of them had a back and forth going on. On the other side of the ring, Daniel Garcia popped up and hit Darby from behind real quick, and then skittered out of the ring and went and stood on the far side of the ring from the hard cam. And Darby got the upper hand again for a second. He ended up kicking Yuta out the other side closest to the hard cam, and then he was going to go for a dive again, but he didn't go for a dive on Yuta. He did a dive, took out Garcia, got back in the ring, and then went to Yuta's side and went through the ropes to get onto the apron. Yuta popped up from the floor to the apron, so they're both there on the apron. They started to come at each other, and Yuta pulled off a Bisaiku knee and sent Darby Allin into a full backflip, and then he landed face down, stomach down, on the floor. So he got kneed in the face, did a 270-degree spin while going up and then down, and splatted on the floor like a rabbit on the freeway. It was a very strange 20 seconds of that match. Somehow Darby got back up, and he got back in the ring, and he never gives up. We know that Darby doesn't give up. So it took a couple more minutes, but he got the upper hand again. That's when he did 2 coffin drops onto Yuta, stopped the 2 count by lifting him, and then put him in the Scorpion Deathlock and won the match. And that's how the show ended. And the show ended very abruptly, for me at least tonight, because I watch on HBO. I stream it through HBO, and Jon Moxley was at the announcer's desk, and he commentated, or he helped commentate throughout the entire end match with Yuta and Darby. And then as Tony Schiavone was asking Moxley a question about upcoming matches and stuff, the feed just stopped. It just ended. There was no rewinding it. I couldn't go back in. It not only stopped, it took me to a completely different page for a totally different show. And I don't know why. My remote was nowhere close to my hand. It was very interesting, but I laughed very hard at that. But we know that Darby got the win. We know that Yuta's out of the picture now. I'm sure somebody else is going to step up and be like, "Oh, you still want Pac? My turn," like type of deal. Moxley's got a lot coming up in the next few weeks. The Bandito versus Garcia is going to be very interesting because Garcia's a kind of a grappler, but also like a high fly type of dude, and Bandito does everything. He does everything. So that match will be very interesting to me. And that is how the first episode of AEW ended. in the year of our Lord 2026. So Wednesday is going to be interesting. The next couple weeks are going to be interesting. We are about a month away from the next pay-per-view, and I'm still waiting to see if I'm going to be at the show here in Phoenix on the 14th. I'm hoping. I have to text my friend Monday when he gets back to his office, and we'll see what happens. So other than that, have a great new year. Kick 2026 in the balls. Let's see what we can get done, and Goofy Wrestling for life. Other than that, I got nothing. I'm going to go to bed. Have a great night. Peace.